Hello everyone, and welcome to today's technical analysis of Bitcoin and XRP on the 26th of November 2023. Since my last video, which was 2 or 3 months ago, the scene have changed, and in the past I was quite bullish. I was in accumulation phase. It's time for a revisit of some of these things. So jumping right into a line chart, I've drawn this line chart which also takes into consideration the funding rate and the long and short positions at the bottom here. I use an exchange called BitMEX for that. So what it really does, it looks at the funding rate, how many people are actually going long and shorts on the perpetual market. When it's above the line like this, people are overly long, and below the line they are overly short. So that is really as simple as that. Now, if you had to look at Bitcoin over the last period of time, let's say the last 3 years, you can see that every time it has gone into an overly long position, the funding rate, you can see that there was a decline, and then again there was that was just before the COVID crash. This there was a decline, but then Elon Musk announced his that he's accepting crypto, and then he said he's not there. But generally, that whole period was overly long, and then a big capitulation. This was actually the biggest one of about, I don't know, a couple of $1 billion. And then since then, as you can see, there's never been a situation where people have been as bullish since 2021 until today. What's also significant to see is that at this previous point at $38,000 and then got rejected, that is actually exactly the point where we are now. And you can see that after that big tank from the Elon Musk announcement, you can then also see that crypto prices sort of managed to recover. First had a bit of resistance, they managed to recover, then found support, and finally, because of Luna, crashed down. Yeah. So having a look at that, we can now clearly see that we are in an overly long position. We are also at the resistance, this previous resistance, which we would need to break through in order for it to become support. I just had a quick look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, and we are also at the highest greed factor that we were since this previous high over here. So from a fear and greed index, we are at 73, 74 at the moment, and perpetual contracts are long, and we are sitting at a resistance zone. So those are all warning signals for me personally, and that is why I have reduced my crypto position. Going into the Bitcoin weekly chart, there's this possibility that we are busy forming a rising wedge. And this rising wedge has now had 3 touches at the top. Well, depending how you look at that, that could also be 3 touches at the bottom or 2 touches. But for now, there's a very real possibility of getting a rejection over here and then pulling back to this bottom trend line over there. That would also match this horizontal support, and that target could easily be $31,000. Having said all that, also with Bitcoin on a weekly too, now that it's just crossed and gone above the 9, there is actually a buy signal on the momentum indicators, and that it went above the 38% Fibonacci line. So there is some bullish signs out there, but for me the risk versus the reward is pretty small. 41 versus 31, and we are now at 38. So 3,000 up or 7,000 down. You can also see that since 2021, RSI on the weekly scale is now nearing overbought conditions, and this is the first time that we've seen these kind of conditions since then. Going into XRP on the weekly chart, the scenario is quite a bit different. XRP has of course had its own trajectory. You can see it's nicely nestled above the 21 moving average. It's now starting to form a hammer candle. You can see the rejection here at the 61.8% Fibonacci. And this of course was the big announcement of the SEC win. So this is all looking pretty good for XRP at the moment. XRP, unfortunately, if Bitcoin is going to retrace, have a little bit of downward pressure, I have reduced my exposure. At the moment, I'm at a 30% in crypto versus 70% in cash. Just waiting for the right time to rebalance that to a more bullish stance. Looking at the S&P, it's also now reaching close to the all-time highs. It's also forming a daily 9 with the doji looking candle. And if you look at the cycle analysis, we have our hit this trough perfectly with all the upside potential, and we probably could look at a few more days or so of upside before there would be some more downside pressure coming over the next few weeks, and maybe until mid-January. Okay, moving over to the US dollar, you can see that all the way from 2003, the US dollar have now finally broken this big resistance of 101. It then had its rally and came back to retest it. So if you had to look at that, that was an absolutely significant level for the US dollar to have broken to the upside. We can only assume that the US dollar would now, after this retest of the support, find more upside potential and potentially put some more pressure on the stock market and crypto. All in all, although there's a really bullish sentiment out there, I always go by the saying, you buy when there's fear in the market or the blood is on the streets, and you sell when there's greed in the market and there's euphoria. And we actually had a very successful crypto fest that was set up by the Bitcoin events. But there was a lot of crypto people there, and I can tell you the sentiment there was absolutely bullish. The people are absolutely bullish at the moment. When everyone's bullish, that is certainly a time to start reducing your position, take some profits, bank it, and yeah. You know, at the end of the day, if you are in a 50% crypto and 50% cash position and the crypto price go up, you still get a bit of upside potential. Just look at what happens if tomorrow morning we wake up, there's some bad announcement of Binance having to close down or something like that. The prices move down to, I don't know, $20,000 or $15,000 again. How would you feel about that? And that is the way you need to trade. You need to trade about having that scenario in your head as well. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And yeah, let's see you on the next one.